All right, today we're going to talk about honoring yourself by feeding yourself. So often, those of us who have been on this diet roller coaster, right? We're obviously always having to think about, when's our next meal? What should I eat? What shouldn't I eat? And what I see is a lot of anxiety and stress around eating in general. But one of the things that brings on a lot of stress for people, and they don't speak up for themselves, and this is a thing I help my coaching clients with, is when somebody is offering to make you dinner or take you out for dinner, or maybe one of your family members in your home is going to cook dinner. If you know what works for you, you know when you get hungry, you eat on a pretty routine schedule, then when they make dinner 3 hours later, or they make a dinner reservation at 7:30 and you eat at 5:30, that doesn't work for you. And for some strange reason, we don't feel okay saying that. And I have been really helping one of my clients with this a lot, like speaking up, saying, hey, that doesn't work for me. Her boyfriend came home and he made this delicious dinner, but it was going to be like 2 hours later than when she ate. And I said, a real simple solution for this is one, sit down and talk to the people that you love when they're not cooking you dinner and say, hey, I have found that I really need to eat around this time because when I eat lunch and when I have my snack, I get super hungry. If you want to make dinner and it's going to be later than that, could you package it up for me? And I'll enjoy it the next day for lunch. Because what ended up happening to her, she was trying to hold out, trying to wait for dinner to be ready. She ended up eating it so fast she didn't even enjoy it. And her big fear, and the reason she didn't want to not eat his dinner, was because she was afraid she would disappoint him. But like she even said, I couldn't even taste it because I was eating it so fast. So it's kind of like we even sabotage our original efforts. And then she ended up overeating. So I think of my eating windows just like when I had little kids that I had to feed on a routine schedule where they got super fussy. Heather is the same way. So if I normally eat breakfast at this time, I eat breakfast at this time. Now, if somebody wants to schedule a breakfast with me and it's 2 hours later, I might just have a cup of coffee. Here's another example. Somebody schedules dinner reservations at 8 p.m. You don't eat dinner at 8 p.m. Eating that late in the evening makes you not sleep well. You don't feel good. And so you eat your normal dinner at 5:30. And then when you go out with them, you maybe have a cup of soup, or maybe you have that dessert you've been eyeing for the last couple times. And you don't even order a dinner, or you order a dinner, you ask them to box it up and you take it home, lunch for tomorrow, and you choose to have the dessert there, right? So when we get invited for dinner at whatever time, or somebody offers to make us a meal, there's always a workaround. What I want to encourage you is feed yourself when you need to eat. Think of yourself like being a toddler or a baby. You don't question them and say, well, little 1-year-old Kathy, you really shouldn't have these Cheerios right now because we're going to take you to a really nice restaurant later, or mommy's making this very special soup tonight. You don't do that. Why? Because you know the outcome. You know the screaming and the crying that will ensue. Here's how your screaming and crying shows up. You get very hungry and you overeat, and or you end up, maybe eating things you wouldn't have normally eaten because you are so hungry. You end up, feeling very stuffed when you go to bed. You feel anxious and stressed. It shows up in a lot of ways for you. So as we age, again, in our 20s, we have a lot more flexibility. You might be able to go much longer without eating and you're fine. You might end up sleeping even if you've had a huge meal. But ladies that are kind of 40 plus, you have some other things you're contending with. You respecting yourself and saying to others, hey, this is when I really need to eat my dinner. But I'll tell you what, you make those dinner reservations for 8 o'clock, I'll just get myself a dessert. And I'll take my dinner home with me, right? It's totally fine. Oh, cool, you're gonna make that delicious recipe and it's gonna be ready 2-3 hours after. I'm gonna go and eat my dinner now, but I'll tell you what, I will eat that for lunch tomorrow because it smells amazing. You can make this work. You're not hurting anybody's feelings. No one cares when you need to eat. That's your responsibility. They are choosing to eat when it's good for them. You don't have to get intertwined on your eating schedules, right? Like, people all over the world eat at different times and eat different things. Like, that's just the way it is. And you know your body. If you get hungry at a certain time, stop, feed it. You're not going to disappoint. And there's always a workaround. Even if it's you just having a small cup of soup at some meal out somewhere, even if it's you ordering a small dessert, whatever. You don't have to make it a big deal, because it's not a big deal. It sounds like a big deal in your head, and that makes you do things that are very unhelpful for you. But you can talk back to that lower brain, right? Oh my gosh, they're working so hard on this meal. If I don't sit down and enjoy it, da, 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 da. No. When would I actually enjoy eating this meal? Oh, maybe tomorrow. Or, maybe I'll have the leftovers for dinner tomorrow evening at 5:30 when it works best for me, right? As opposed to, I have to sit down and eat this meal. Now, does that mean you can't sit down with the family at 7:30 when they sit down to eat the food? Of course you can. See, that's the other thing. We think about family meals as having to be everyone eating the exact same thing off plates at the exact same time. It's not. Family meals are about people that you love all sitting down together and kind of sharing a time. So whether or not on your plate you have a couple pieces of fruit because that's what you have in the evening, or a pudding cup or whatever, and then having the regular dinner, what difference does it make? You're all sitting down together at the table, right? So you honor yourself. You feed yourself when you need to eat. All right, guys, I hope this video was helpful. I will talk to you soon. Please like, subscribe, and share. All right, I'll talk to you soon.